There's something magical about stepping into a small town that rarely gets the spotlight, let alone appears on a tourist map. Minnesota, a state often associated with its thousands of lakes, actually hides a dozen or so remote towns with unique character, something you won't find anywhere else. Yes, these towns aren't just far from the crowds. They each hold stories, icons, and a way of life that make them worth visiting, even living in. From a mini Scandinavian village, a town of gnomes, to the birthplace of the Paul Bunyan legend. And this journey will take you through some of the most untouched corners of Minnesota. We begin in a small town marked by a giant ball of twine that brings a smile to anyone passing by. Located in the heart of Minnesota, Darwin is widely known for one thing: the giant ball of twine made by a single man, Francis A. Johnson. Weighing more than 4 tons and with a diameter of over 2 meters, this object has become a quirky but proud local icon. Not many know that this town originally grew because of the railroad line, even though the station now only lives in memory. The streets feel quiet, lined with old buildings and small repair shops. With a population of just over 600 people, life in Darwin moves slowly, warmly, and every summer, the Twine Ball Days Festival is held as a celebration for the community. It often attracts visitors from outside, curious to see how uniqueness is celebrated here, keeping the town on the map. Heading southwest, we arrive in Dawson, a town that proudly calls itself the gnome capital of the world. And it's no surprise, along the walking paths and city parks, dozens of gnome statues stand in unique poses, each one representing a local figure or profession. This tradition began back in the 1980s, when locals decided to give their quiet town a fresh new identity. Dawson also has the calm atmosphere of a farm town, with family bakeries and diners where residents gather. Every spring, a small parade brings out living gnomes, played by school children and seniors. The town proves that with a little imagination and creativity, even a quiet place can become something magical. Besides Dawson, this next town also deserves attention. Surrounded by hills and located along the Root River, Lanesboro is a small town with a special charm. It's known as a hub for art and culture in rural Minnesota. Imagine 19th century red brick buildings transformed into galleries, theaters, and cafes that buzz with visitors on the weekend. Locals live side by side with artists and bed and breakfast owners, forming a lively community, even though the population doesn't even reach 1,000. In the summer, the Root River Trail cycling path leads travelers through peaceful views of fields and rivers. So how would you describe this town? Lanesboro isn't for those seeking noise and crowds. It's for anyone who wants to experience life at a gentler pace. Then moving south, there's a town that feels more German than Germany itself. Yes, it's New Ulm, a town with deeply rooted German culture. Here, Bavarian-style architecture stands proudly, and polka music rings out from festivals held throughout the year. As the name suggests, New Ulm is named after the city of Ulm in Bavaria, and has a long immigration history, starting with German settlers in the 19th century who wanted to create a new cultural colony. And they succeeded. The Glockenspiel Tower rises in the middle of town, chiming every hour while showing mechanical dancing dolls. Today, the town blends old traditions with a modern lifestyle. You'll still find authentic German beer shops right next to trendy coffee cafes. Meanwhile, A bit farther out, Lindström welcomes you with a giant coffee pot at its city entrance, a symbol of hospitality and strong Swedish heritage. What's unique here is that street names are written in both English and Swedish. In winter, the town turns into a quiet white landscape, while summer brings life back to the small surrounding lakes. Yes, as you can clearly see, Lindström is known as America's Little Sweden, and it's more than just a slogan. Swedish festivals like Midsummer and Karl Oskar Days are a big part of the town's identity. Classic candy shops and Scandinavian restaurants make this small town feel like a miniature world from remote northern Europe. After exploring that slice of northern Europe, let's head to an old town. Located in southeastern Minnesota, Wabasha stands as one of the oldest settlements in the state. This town lives quietly among old brick buildings and the ever-flowing Mississippi River. But what truly makes it unique is the presence of the National Eagle Center, where dozens of once injured bald eagles are now cared for and serve as ambassadors for conservation. Wabasha is also known as the setting for the classic film Grumpy Old Men, and the quirky vibe of that movie still lingers in the town's everyday life. Warm, old, and full of character. Heading northeast, there's the tiny town of Biwabik. Located in the heart of the Iron Range, this town shows strong Scandinavian spirit, seen in its Nordic-style homes and the statue of Honk the Moose, the 10-foot-tall city mascot that has become a local icon. The town's iron mining history still echoes here, with old tracks and tunnels hidden behind the forest. In winter, Biwabik turns into a snow activity hub, thanks to Giant's Ridge, a destination for skiing and snowboarding. But what stands out most is how the town celebrates its roots through festivals like Honktoberfest, blending old traditions with today's fun on a small and familiar scale. Further north, we head to Ely, a town surrounded by wilderness and clear lakes. For those who don't know, it's the gateway to the Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness, one of the largest wild natural areas in the United States. So it's no surprise that Ely draws adventurers, nature writers, and seekers of peace. More deeply, the town holds a calm but strong energy. Shops downtown sell handmade wooden canoes and expedition gear. At night, Ely's sky fills with stars, and on occasion, the northern lights. With a close-knit community and a nature-based lifestyle, Ely feels like a quiet civilization standing gracefully at the edge of the world. Meanwhile, in the southwestern part of Minnesota, there's a town with a strong spiritual presence called Pipestone. As the name suggests, the town sits on pink Pipestone rock, considered sacred by many Native American tribes. At Pipestone National Monument, you can see the actual stone quarries and hear ancestral stories that are still preserved today. The air here feels heavy with history and calm. The locals live in harmony between cultural heritage and daily life. The streets are lined with buildings made from the same pipestone, giving Pipestone its unique pink hue. And being unusual isn't always a bad thing, right? If you've ever seen Paul Bunyan and his blue ox babe, there's a good chance they came from Bemidji. This town is located in the middle of Minnesota, among interconnected lakes and thick pine forests. The giant statues of Paul and Babe stand by Lake Bemidji, greeting everyone who enters the town. Even though those statues are the main attraction, life here is more than just about symbols. Bemidji is a college town, an arts center, and a meeting point of many cultures, including the Ojibwe community. In winter, ice festivals and views of the frozen lake become the main draw. The town feels alive, even when temperatures drop to minus 20 degrees. From Lake Bemidji, we head to Lake Superior. Here, we arrive at Two Harbors, a quiet little port town. This is where the history of iron ore shipping began, and even today, cargo ships can still be seen in the distance. Its famous landmark, Split Rock Lighthouse, stands tall on a rocky cliff, silently witnessing the harsh weather of northern Minnesota. In the town center, a tourist train takes visitors along old tracks while telling stories of steel workers and lake storms. Though remote, Two Harbors has a strong sense of community and the fresh coastal air that always makes people want to return. Farther to the northeast, almost at the Canadian border, there's Grand Marais, a small town considered a paradise for artists and adventurers. It sits at the end of the Gunflint Trail, and from here, many expeditions into the hills and lakes begin. Downtown is filled with open art galleries, shop buildings, and cozy coffee roasteries. The lake breeze from Lake Superior sweeps through the stone streets and the picturesque little lighthouse. Grand Marais is often called one of the most beautiful small towns in America, not because of glamour, but because of its natural charm and sincerity. Meanwhile, in southwestern Minnesota, Luverne stands quietly among grasslands and open fields. The town is known for Blue Mound State Park, an area featuring ancient limestone formations and a wild bison population. But Luverne also has an interesting historical side. It was part of the Prairie Fire route and holds traces of early colonial life. Its downtown is neat and clean, with an old theater still in operation and a small community-run military museum. Every fall, the orange and yellow colors of the trees make the town look like a living painting. Though quiet, Luverne offers space for anyone who wants to breathe a little deeper. But when we talk about towns that breathe and are even deeper in the heart of Minnesota, this one clearly can't be left out. Yes, as the name suggests, Leaf Valley is the hardest town to find on this list. There aren't many road signs leading to the town, which reportedly has a population of only 5 people, and even cell phone signals often disappear. But that's exactly what makes it appealing. Leaf Valley is a true rural village, with an old church, stretches of cornfields, and homes far apart from each other. The name Leaf Valley sounds poetic, and the atmosphere really is. This town is a favorite place for those wanting to escape the modern world, to write, paint, or simply be at peace with the stillness of time. To close our list, there's Moorhead, located on Minnesota's western border, right across from Fargo, North Dakota. Though it's larger than the previous towns, it still holds a uniqueness that can't be ignored. One of them is the replica of the Viking ship Hjemkomst, a symbol of the town's deep Norwegian heritage. At the Hjemkomst Center, the true story of this ship's voyage to Norway inspires new generations about the importance of dreams and perseverance. In addition, Moorhead is culturally active, with a small university, local concerts, and a lively farmers market. Moorhead proves that uniqueness doesn't always come from remoteness, but from stories that are brave enough to be told. In the end, these towns are not just small dots on a digital map. Instead, they are places where local identity grows from the land, from the stones, from tradition, and from the people who choose to live there and keep the stories alive. If you want to see the side of Minnesota that's rarely talked about, full of quirks, sincerity, and unusual beauty, then this is the route. Don't forget to write your favorite town in the comments, and see you on our next journey.